following Willie more and more. Back in the NRL as Willie Mason.
That's forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie and the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
Welcome to episode number 12 of The Take with Willie and Ian, and it's been a big couple of days, mate. We've got a new Prime Minister.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know.
Did you vote? You get
Yeah,
fined.
I voted. I was
Yeah.
out there. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just pretending to vote. I honestly didn't know. It was like, I think yesterday.
You went, look,
And
we've got a new Prime Minister. Nothing's going to change ever.
Yeah, the in-laws were talking about it, and I'm like, we got a new Prime Minister. She goes, yeah, Albanese. I'm like, oh, look, it's surprising. That's how much I really care about what's going on.
The best thing about that is that they've got a Instagram page for his dog now. So that's
Albanese's.
Yeah, Toto, his name is. Cute little dog.
Is that how you pronounce his name? Albanese?
Albanese.
Mad South supporter.
Yeah, I know. Well, they've all got to
No,
support
they know.
someone.
Yeah, but he's from the block. He's from Redfern or somewhere.
Yeah.
In a suburb.
He grew
in
up
the city.
He grew up around
Government
sort of,
houses.
Yeah,
I got
Alexandria
respect
or
for him,
something.
yeah.
Yep. No, he's done well. Good on you, Anthony.
Yeah.
You've got a big job in front of you. Let me tell you, the country's going down the toilet real quick. And just everyone, when interest rates start going up and petrol prices, that was already set. It's not his fault. Just ease
How
up.
do you pronounce it? Albanese or Albanese?
Albanese.
He said it's not. You don't pronounce it Bolognese. that's how he said how to pronounce his name. Albanese. Albanese or something like that.
Well, he's Albanese now. That's
It is.
Yeah.
The Lebanese will claim him. He's half Lebanese.
And I've finally got over the sickness, which only took 2.5 weeks. I'll tell you what, though, I managed to get through 4 seasons of Yellowstone.
Yeah.
I told you it was really good.
not-
The last season was a bit. I didn't like the last season as much. I don't know if anyone
I just
out
got
there
over Magic Round. Just
survived.
Just last week. I was
Just
like, oh my God,
survived.
get me out of here. Brisbane shouldn't be too much. It shouldn't be as fun. Sydney isn't that much fun anymore.
No, it's not.
Nightlife wise. You know, we're 42 years old. It's just like the 2000s, I think we just ruined it for everyone. So we got ours in. And now like Brisbane and all up north, there's just way, way more fun.
Yeah.
It's fucking dangerous. Don't ever take me up there again.
Till next time.
Until next week.
I had quite the experience on the weekend. My young bloke, he played footy on Saturday at Campbelltown.
Wow.
And then-
Did you cross Anzac Parade?
And then I went to Blacktown on
Wow.
Sunday. I'll tell you what.
It's fucking different out there.
The quality of footballer in the western suburbs is just phenomenal.
They're big boys, eh?
Well, so it's pretty funny. They played against his side, and Finn plays for Randwick Warriors, which, you know, for the most part is a smaller side.
Yeah.
They're not drawing on huge.
You don't have big Pacific Islanders in your side.
No.
You know, like you go out west, there's guys my size in under 12s.
Well, there was literally, and the thing is that, and this is one of the things, like, I don't mind, like, these kids are 12. Like, people go, check their birth certificates. They're just big. Like, they shouldn't be penalised. But I tell you what, there was at least probably 5 or 6 kids over 100 kilos.
Yeah.
It was hard going.
Imagine how scary that would be as a 12-year-old.
It was hard going.
come
My
on.
son's too stupid. He just tackled
Yeah,
anything.
just...
There's a few went missing.
Campbelltown is very far, but I've been going out to Camden a little bit. That's just way too far. Shout out to Bobby.
All right. So I don't like starting the show with this because it sounds like we're being negative the whole time. But again, the bunkers come under review. Not review. It's just Des Hasler. Des Hasler loves a blow up, let's be honest. He will get fined probably. I don't know. Do they do the fines? What do you have to actually say to get fined these days?
Bring the game into disrepute, say something out of line, I suppose. Like, not that much.
Yeah.
Bit of a blow up. Like, just sort of question the game's integrity, all that kind of stuff where, you know, the coaches have a fine line. They're very emotional. They get them right after the game when they're highly emotional and they ask all these questions to they ask the right questions. These journos aren't dumb because this is the shit they can talk about all week. So they ask those questions to a fired up, Jeff Tuvey, remember that? That was
Investigation.
A fucking investigation. And all these other coaches, they know what the questions to ask. Like, Manly needed to win that game. There was a couple of calls there where you go, oh, well, if the bunker had or the ref had made that right decision, they probably would have won the game. Especially the one where that winger pumped the other winger,
Yeah.
and he got penalised for a high shot. It's a fucking contact sport.
And it was a try
That's body.
save.
That's man on man. That's body on body. I'm bigger, stronger than you. I'm more physical. You're going out. That's what the fucking game's about. And you penalise that shit.
Yeah.
Unless he took his head clean off, which he didn't.
No, he didn't.
That guy was ducking down, and the other guy was trying to put his body on the line to save a try, to save the game. That's what the game's about. That's what you want to see. Like, people putting their body on the line, and you get penalised for it. And then they scored the next set.
Yep.
Well, I can understand why Des is upset.
And then the bloke put it on report, and then there was no penalties because
Absolutely
it wasn't.
nothing.
It didn't deserve it. So let's have a look at what. Do you know? Here's another thing, Will. Talking about the fines and whether the fines are appropriate and who decides on the fines. So you've got Josh Alloway came out and he was like, it wasn't fair, or made some. I'll tell you what he said. Actually, he said, quote unquote. He said, we were pretty hard done by for the most part. The ref did us no favours, particularly in the back end of the game. I think he did a bad job and we didn't get away with the win, so I'm pretty unhappy with him, to be honest with you, right?
That's
so
not bad.
No, and it's an opinion, right? And then you've got Jared Warrior-Hargraves getting sin bin for saying that the ref...
That was pretty good, bro.
That was unreal.
Yeah.
Why are you picking on me?
Every
Picking
time
on me.
you've got a chance, you fucking pick on me.
Picking on me. Stop picking on me, ref. And then
I feel
you've
your
got...
pain, Big Jared.
And then you got coaches who come out and say stuff and they get fined. Like, who decides whether it's a bad thing or a good thing, or like where's the consistency with the fines?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think why ask the player, like a person like Alloway or something like that, like, what do you think about the refs? You know, who takes accountability for the young kid saying some dumb shit?
Yeah.
The media manager, the club. You know, if the media because they have the right to the players 24/7, pretty much, they're going to ask whatever they want, and they're going to ask something like that. What do you think about this? And then
about the ref?
he says something. If he gets fined, does the club take care of his fine?
I don't know. You've got plenty of fines.
Yeah,
in
I
it.
know.
You tell me.
It's a suspended fine. You know, I think it is a fine line. If you sort of have a crack at the rest, because they're so sensitive about this fucking bunker and how they rule the game and everything, I think they might go to the NRL might look at that and go, we can't have you saying that.
Yeah.
They rule it with an iron fist, just like the NFL and NBA. If you say something against the refs and all that kind of stuff against the game, you'll get fined. But I don't think LOA said anything out of line.
Well, we talked about it last week and whether or not, like, you can't remove human error, right? Because the bunker is still, there are human beings in the bunker. They're saying that they're going to maybe start sacking people in the bunker. But Annesley, who is look how much, we've definitely done a lot of research
It gives
here.
me anxiety looking at how many words are there.
So we've got could you imagine the drama we'd have if referees were missing foul play? People would be saying, we've got the technology, why aren't we using it? Now, yeah, that's true, but we survived for 100 years without it as well. And people just made, like, the only reason, if you stopped showing the thing 100 million times in slow-mo and showed it at fast pace, people are like, oh yeah, wasn't a try. Oh yeah, it was a try. Like, if you look at it at full speed, like the referee does, you know they're going to make mistakes.
They only brought it in for the real, like, blatant, you know, it was a knock on or something like that. That's what they brought it in for. You know, the one that cost the game. You know, where back in the 90s, you could look at some plays, or the early 2000s, you go, that was a fucking drop ball.
Yeah.
They brought it in for that.
Yeah.
Not this real, like,
Pedantic,
technical really,
stuff.
like, you know, all this stuff where they're slowing the game down and taking, you know, 2 or 3 minutes to make a decision, and everyone just keeps whinging about it. I know it does. The game sort of needs it just to make those real crucial decisions, but does it need to go to a bunker, or can it just go up to the referee's decision?
Yeah.
Can't they just look at it on the big screen, all of them, and fucking make a decision?
Yeah.
Instead of going to the bunker and go, oh my God, we can't make this decision. We'll have to get these 2 professionals to do it. And they're fucking sitting there like you and I and going, I don't think it's a knock on. And you're like, I think it's a knock on. Like, who the fuck wins then?
Yeah, I know.
That's why people get so frustrated. You got 2 blokes just like me and you sitting here going, I don't think that's a foul. I don't think that was a knock on. I think it was. What do you do then?
Press the button quick. I'd press the red button.
You fucking go to the ref's call? No,
Red.
you don't. So you got 2 blokes in there still making human error.
Yeah.
On a stupid call. So I understand it needs to be there for that knock on that was blatant and the ref missed it. He went back and you fixed it. Everyone's fine with that. But that shit that I saw on Friday night against Newcastle, they fucking blew their soul out. You know, was it 16-12 or something like that? With 12 minutes to go, game on the line. They scored 24, I don't know, 20-something unanswered points, run away with the whole game. Fuck my multi up.
Do you know what? If I'm in the bunker,
But you look at that, and both of us are watching that, and you're like, well, what are the rules here? What does it stipulate? Well, you can't catch behind the person, and you can't pass it. He did exactly what the rules say you can't do, and they still went ahead with it.
Yeah.
That's why people lose their shit.
Yeah.
That's why journos are talking about it all week. That's why everybody's blowing up. That's why Knights are fucking livid. Like, it tore their soul out. They're just looking at it going, fuck. Like, what do? You're sitting there watching it for 3 minutes and you still come up with that.
Yeah.
The rules stipulate that you can't do whatever they just did. And you still said fucking try.
If I'm in the bunker, I'm listening to the commentators and I'm just doing whatever the commentator said as the answer, because then you don't get criticised and everyone moves on.
Yep.
So you just sit there and listen and go, oh, well, he said it was.
Well, he said
it was.
Gus said it was a try.
Must be, because otherwise I'll get hammered. The other thing here, this is another bit of research that I've clearly done myself without any involvement from anyone else.
Look at my research.
Yours looks heaps similar to mine, as if we've just printed it out and been handed it. But there's 148 challenges mounted so far this season. 73 have been successful, 67 have been unsuccessful, and 8 inclusive. 8. How can they be inconclusive?
I was
What's the
watching
point of it?
360 the other day, and PK goes, well, that's two hours or something like that of just like watching a decision. Buzz was sitting there going, I need the bunker. And no one even fucking cares what Buzz was saying. But like PK says some real interesting shit. Brace says some real good stuff. I mean, it's funny watching all these old blokes and then Brace just holding that show together.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Imagine dealing with 3 journos and Brace just sitting there, achieved everything in the game. Shout out to Brace. He's a massive fan of the show. But, like, guys, I imagine just looking at Buzz with his fucking glasses down, just sitting there going, well, I fucking think that... Oh, shut up, mate.
Good impression.
Yeah.
Good impression.
Because he swears a lot. He does swear
all
a lot.
the time.
Buzz is sitting there, he's swapping his water for whiskey.
Braith's actually doing
Braith's
a
doing
terrific
great, mate.
job.
He's done
He's doing a terrific job.
He's holding
a
that show
natural.
together. I
He
mean,
is a
I like
natural.
PK, I like Hoops, I like all those guys. I don't have no beef with them. But it's just funny. I'm just looking at Braith. I'm just thinking, could I sit there with those 3 fucking guys and not lose my shit?
That's why you're not.
That's exactly why
That
I'm
is
not. I'm sitting here on the
This is what-
lounge, cruising.
Next to me.
No stress.
Now let's talk about this show that we did last week. Obviously, got a fairly, it's got a lot of traction, especially amongst Bulldogs fans. And you spoke really well, I think.
Yep.
I don't give you too many raps, but you spoke very well. How's the week been now with Potter? I mean, I think everything's settled down. The media's jumped straight off their back. The thing that annoys me is the media go, Barrett, he's going to get sacked. You know, whatever happens, whether he's sacked or whether he walked, doesn't matter. There's a new coach there. So all of a sudden, the media just stop reporting what's going on at Canterbury.
It's like they've done their job.
They've done their job, and then they move on to the next one. And I saw last week they've brought back who's getting sacked. The coach meters back again, and you got Brown and
unbelievable.
poor old Michael Maguire's been left alone. He's back on the.
Yeah.
He could get sacked. So someone has to get sacked every 3 weeks, obviously, or no one's happy.
It's
but
in their contract. They get bonuses.
So how's it been? At Canterbury look as if they've handled the change and they've just got on with it, and that's what a footy club should do after turmoil.
And that's why I think they bought Michael Potter in. Like, I haven't been into training since it happened. I was in there maybe once, but not for training or anything like that. So I speak to Gus a fair bit, and I was talking to Baz a week and see if he was all right. Like, I still got a good relationship with Baz. That's why they bought Potter in. Like, he's played for the Bulldogs, he's coached, he's got a hell of a lot of experience, and he's a grown ass man. He's pretty strict. So. I mean, he's not a miracle worker. He's just got to get these kids back on track, forget about what the first 10 rounds were, and just try and salvage something for the rest of the year. Galvanise each other, have a siege mentality, and then just, as I said last week, let's just us versus them. We've got to bunker down, have that Bulldogs mentality, and then try and get as many wins as we can. As I said, the season's not over. I'm very optimistic about it because I just look at the talent on the team. Last 2 years, you're like, well, you shouldn't make the top 8. This year, with the talent that we have got, it's a top 8 team, or at least come 10, 11, 12. You know what I mean? Everyone's on those on equal 8. There's about 6 teams.
17
should be
teams.
there.
Yeah.
So hopefully something can ignite this week, and it'll be a good game on Sunday against St George. So that'll be good. Because they're not too bad, St George.
No.
That'll be a good parameter. Is it parameter? No.
A good barometer.
Yeah, thank you. To see where they really are. I think anything could have happened against the Tigers that night. They showed it for 20 minutes. They fucking nearly got back in the game.
Yeah.
And then, they let it go again. So they just need to build that resilience and still just keep sticking with each other because it's not even halfway.
No.
We are not even halfway. We've got to get through Origin and everything like that. So anyone can catch fire. It's that sort of comp.
I think the good thing for Potter too is can you put a caretaker coach on the Saka meter?
Yeah.
He should be all right. Even if he loses every game, he won't get on the
He's
Saka
fine.
meter. A little bit of a poo-ha between Naden and Dufty.
Yeah,
They
I don't know
love-
what that was.
They love blowing it up, don't they? There was clearly nothing in it. But they've
Well, if
seen
there was something in it, Naden would have had a crack at him.
it would have gone on.
Like, it's not like Tavita Pangai come up and just give you a little nudge. You'd be like, oh, second guess. But
Correct.
little Dufty.
That's right, Tavita. You're right.
You're right.
You
T.
are right.
You're right, big
Thank
boy.
you for,
You're right.
Thank you for the
Thanks
feedback.
for pointing that. Thanks
Yeah.
for pointing that out, big man. But Dufty, like you're like, well, if it was serious, I think something would have been done, and you would have seen Naden's reaction a little bit more aggressive. He didn't even care. He just talked back to Jacko, and I'm like, well, maybe it was just Dufty taking the piss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was because Dufty sort of walked off and wasn't angry. I don't know. Unless they're really good actors and they knew that camera was on.
Will Smith, slap. There was a
Just bang.
slap.
I was waiting for a big bitch slap.
I'll tell you what we're going to do after the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to slap you.
yeah. And we'll get more ratings.
And we'll rate. They'll talk about us on 360. Just quickly, not quickly actually. Let's talk about the Warriors because first of all, Janelle Harris-Tavita, he's announced that he's taking a break. And look, I'm not
well
reading too
deserved,
much,
but-
mate. If you smash your nuts up, I'd have a break too.
I'd
I
ask for a
reckon.
break.
I'd say I don't need to have. I got one now.
Yeah.
I'll leave.
I can excuse him.
But the Matt Lodge thing, we were speaking about this before the show, and you just assumed that he was having a mid-season transfer to another club. But as it turns out, he was playing second-grade rugby up in Queensland for Norths
I think
on the
that's-
weekend. So he's literally just gone, not I want to go and play somewhere else. I just don't want to play for you. That's it, I'm
Well,
done.
maybe he's said that and then Brownie's gone, well, don't fucking play at all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way he'd be going. Obviously, he's on a fair bit of money, and he would not cost. He's obviously got the choice to go and negotiate with other clubs and do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
That's part of you can do that. Obviously, it's deeper than that because Brownie's going, well, I don't want you in the team.
Well, if he's
that's
walked-
exactly how it's. He hasn't walked, has he?
Well, I mean, if he's walked, then
He cost himself all that money.
Yeah,
you were
he's-
not that stupid. He's on about $850.
Yeah.
He's not that dumb. You know, like I think what's happened is that he said that little bit of beefs happened in between him and the coaching staff and Brown. Brown's like, you know, fuck it, I don't need you in the club.
Well, the Warriors are actually going back to New Zealand to play games this year, aren't they? At some point, I think
They need to, man.
maybe he said that he didn't want to go back to New Zealand for whatever reason, and then it just. But you would think if that was the case, especially considering Fanua Blake's injured, that he would just that the club would say, well, can you just play through till?
Can you get to the end of the year?
Or get through to when we go? Like you want to go? If you don't want to go to New Zealand, then that's fine. I mean, unless
That's what I'm saying. It's got to be deeper than that. If he's come out one week going, I don't really want to be here. I want to go somewhere else next year or this year, whatever. And then Brown's like, I'm just sick of you. Like,
hang on a second. What about? I haven't thought about this, but what about if that incident in New York? Would that, if he's had an actual assault charge against him, would that stop him from getting into certain countries? Maybe he can't go to New Zealand.
well, they would know that before they even signed the contract.
Would they
They're
not?
Yeah, they would.
I don't know. Like little things like that tend to slide through. You don't think about
But
it.
I think it's a discipline thing. I think it's a coaching thing. And I just think that's Brown's decision to not play him and go, we'll go play local league. Because as if you don't want to play NRL. You know, like just because he doesn't want to play for the Warriors doesn't mean he doesn't want to play NRL.
Well, the Dolphins, everyone assumes he's going to the Dolphins next year, but the Dolphins, they could be thrown off, but they've said they're not interested. So, I mean, at 850, if that's what he's... I mean, look, if he's walked away from that cash and
There's no way that he would walk. There's no man in the game would.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. You got to think that something is in between that.
He's got a family.
Between
Like,
yeah,
it's-
exactly. So he's got a
bills.
family. He's got bills to pay. He's got a life to lead. You know what I mean? And he's got other people that are relying on him. There's no way you're walking away from that. Like unless Brown's gone, I don't want you to play for us. He goes, well, I'll fucking just go play local league.
Yeah.
Because he still obviously wants to play, and his talent means he can play NRL. He's a good forward. He
Yeah.
goes hard. I rate him. But like, yeah, obviously you got to read between the lines and go, this is a coaching and player dispute.
It has
That's
to be,
it.
doesn't
It
it?
has to be. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't got a good track record with coaches other than Wayne Bennett. So I'm thinking that's the case. You know,
So-
so I wish him all the best. I think he's a really good forward. Hope he finds happiness because he's had a real rough trot to the start of his career. got in some shit that which everyone knows, and he's sort of turned his life around. And I thought he was happy at the Warriors. I fucking feel sorry for the Warriors, man. Like, it's just, 2.5 years now away from home and living. We're just thinking about living away in a hotel. Obviously, I'm presuming they still staying in a hotel somewhere. Yeah. That would be doing my fucking head in, man. I don't know how long I could do that. And imagine Lodge just being playing for the Broncos and being happy, all this sort of shit. And then he's been there. Yeah, I can deal with it for half a fucking year. And then he's like, man, I'm over this shit.
Yeah.
Like, credit to the Warriors that they haven't just fucking lost every single game. Brownies held them together. Augusta was there for a little bit. Like, the leadership in that club needs, they've done really well not to just fall apart and get blown out every game because it's hard what they're doing. They need to go home.
You look at
it sucks playing in New Zealand. They've got that advantage.
The funny thing is, you look at a side and you look at their home and away record, and you're like, the Cowboys don't travel well or whatever. They've literally played away non-stop for 2.5 years. Like, every single game's an away game. It's a phenomenal effort for them to
the amount of money that
the
Warriors have lost.
Yeah,
they need to be. Obviously, they're getting compensated somewhere, but give them something.
Give them something. I think, you do worry about where the Warriors go from here, though. I guess once they go back, they can reset. They've had a couple of signings.
Might as well just put them in Perth.
Yeah.
Perth Warriors sound all right.
The New Zealand Perth
Warriors. And then make another team in, New Zealand.
Because it's going so well for the Kiwi sides.
That's why I'm not in administration in the NRL.
It's funny, though, because Union's not on the slide over there, but there's certainly there's
space there.
There's certainly been a downgrade in terms of, I guess, the New Zealand sides aren't performing as well as what they have done, and the interest levels, I think, in Union they've plateaued a bit.
One team's enough in New Zealand. So if you want to be NRL, it's got to go to Perth.
Yeah.
Or fucking just leave it.
Yeah. 17 teams.
17 teams.
All right, well, let's talk about, we have to talk about it, is the State of Origin sides will get picked after this weekend. The games are sort of 10 days away or 2 weeks away or whatever. So both sides, there's a number of locks in both sides, obviously with the injuries to Trebojevic on the weekend, and I hope he's okay because he's just constantly injured, that poor kid. But Latrell Mitchell as well. So you're going to have to put new centres in, and they were probably their two best players
Easily
last year.
the best.
If you look at it, I mean, we'll go through that, in more detail, I guess, next week or whatever, but in terms of the sides that they pick. But you'd have to say Queensland are more settled.
Seems like it. I thought they were going to dominate for 10 years. Looks like they've caught up already. When you go through Queensland's side, it's star-studded, and I I think New South Wales will still win because I think our spine's better. And we've been playing together for a fair while now, about 4 or 5 years. But losing Latrell and Tommy Turbo is unbelievable. They were head and shoulders above everybody else last year. It was Bees Dick between one of them getting the Brad Fittler medal or Player of the Series or whatever. It was 1 and 2.
Yeah,
they were that close. Yeah, man. You see some of the individual efforts that they did last year with Turbo and Latrell. You know who's absolutely cheering that Latrell's not playing? Dane Gagai.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was a personal battle last year. It was a great battle. But Latrell was he was unbeatable last year.
He was up for it massively.
He was up for it big time, and they're great mates. They had to go back to club together. Turbo was outstanding on that right edge. Now we're going to have to probably go with Crichton at right centre and Staggs at left. Or maybe Crichton at left centre because they want that combination with Luai.
Yeah.
That's the only way. Or maybe Liam Martin can play left edge. I'm not sure. You're going to have to go for combinations. So, but even on that left edge, I think you can have any back row because Kickout's not there.
Yeah.
And I think Tarek worked really well last year.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that left centre because Katoni plays on the right as well. So I'll put Crichton at left centre.
I think
he's a big body.
One thing I think is that if assuming Queensland do pick Xavier Coates and Cobbo, they're pretty big human beings, and To'o's small, and so you've got to assume. I think Daniel Tupou's got to come into consideration on the wing just to try and, because he's been playing well for the Roosters. With Tupou, he's going to do a job.
Tupou is a great player.
He's been there before. He's done a job at Origin.
It's unfortunate that To'o and Fox they will be definite starters. Yeah. Let's not even question that. But if it's an aerial attack and we're getting jumped over, It'll change game 2.
You know what, Will? You say New South Wales spine's better. If you look at the Queensland spine,
I
you've got
know.
Grant,
Shut up.
DCE, Munster, and Ponga.
But we got Cook, Cleary, Luai, and
Tedesco,
Teddy.
yeah.
That is a good. And someone was trying to question fucking Cook's credibility to play. Does he deserve to play? I think on 360. I said,
you serious?
He's been one of the fucking best players that we have had. Just because Souths aren't going good, let's get out of that narrative about club football into Origin football.
He's still South's best player every week. He's playing unreal.
Oh, someone questioned. He's picking him, or do you pick him, or pick Appy Coruscant? I think it was Buzz.
You pick Cook every single day
Cook
of the week.
every day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who it was, but
I reckon where New South Wales are probably struggling a bit is back row, because you've got blokes that have been there and done it before, like Sims and Angus Crichton and I guess Liam Martin to some extent, but at least Sims and Crichton haven't been on top form, this year. Crichton's been outstanding at Origin level.
and this is where they need to go. They need to pick and stick.
Yeah.
Like, just say if Nate Miles would go back to club football, not be the best player, come in the Origin and just kill everyone.
Yeah.
Like, surely we've got to start believing that Origin is another level and players can just step up to Origin.
Yeah.
Tarek Sims is an Origin player.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not sure what the fuck you're looking at, but he's been dominating the game like every Origin that he plays. Like Cam Murray, I'm not even questioning him getting in the team. Liam Martin, I'm not questioning that guy. Paulo, Payne Haas, not questioning anything. Isaiah Yeo, not questioning any of these guys because they're tried and tested. I think they're talking about Campbell Gillard.
Yeah.
He hasn't played Origin for 3 years. So, he's either going to start or he's going to be on the bench. So that's another big body. So Reg has been out for a little bit. Now he's earned his stripes back, but I'm not sure what they're going to go with.
Yeah.
If someone gets injured this week, hopefully not.
Well, Jake Trbojevic.
Does he take Jake Trebojevic's spot?
Yeah, that's right.
Fuck no.
No.
Jake Trbojevic is one of the best Origin players of all time already.
And he still hits like a truck.
Mate, you cannot look at that and just because Manly's going average and then Jake's not a superstar player, he's an Origin player.
Yeah.
Don't you dare overlook that kid. And I think this is media talking and that. They always talk about this shit. But Freddie and that know that.
Yeah, for sure.
They know how important a guy like Jake is to that system. And even Crichton.
Yeah.
These blokes have been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
They've been part of something special.
Yeah.
So let's not overlook that. I don't give a shit about the club football, what the form they've been in. Even if Crichton seems to be playing himself out of the team, someone needs to be playing 10 out of 10 every game. Has Campbell Gillard been playing 10 out of 10 every game? He's been pretty much one of our best props, but we've won the last 3.
Do you know what? If I'm
No. 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4.
Whatever. Who cares?
We've won a lot of them. We've won a lot of them. If I'm the Roosters, I actually want Crichton to get picked because even though you miss him from the club for those times, it probably plays him back into
the confidence that people
being
get from
the Origin player. So I think
he's just been a bit off at the start. I think because
there's all this
they started him and then
stuff
he's
as
off
well.
contract. I mean, not off. He was starting and then on the bench. He's not a bench player. He's a starter.
And he's off contract, and that's the thing. The Roosters, I think. Look, the Roosters are probably trying to hardball. They've spent a lot of money to get him from Souths, and I don't think Crichton wants to play for anyone else.
They're trying to get Munster. I heard.
And Payne
Brave
Haas
told me.
and Cobbo.
Brave told me just before I got on. They offered him $10 million a game.
A second.
Lira, but
pesos. All right, well, we'll go back. I think that the sides are pretty picked, to be honest. So there's not much point going
do
in.
you pick young Cobbo, 19-year-old?
Well, I mean, my thing with that is who's going better than him. Like if you look at the Queensland wingers, Felt got injured.
Maybe Coates is going better than him.
Well, that's Coates, but who are the other wingers in Queensland? That Tuolangi's going all right.
Tuolangi, yeah. They got even they haven't even really looked at that young back row from Cowboys, Nanai.
He's a freak.
He scored 10 tries already.
Yeah, I know.
Even though a few of them being off kicks, but he's so dangerous near the line. He will definitely be in their squad.
Yeah,
he'll be in their squad. If Capewell or someone gets injured, they can drop out, put him on the bench because he's tough. He's only 19. He doesn't, he's been playing in a great side. He's been playing some good football. Ruben Cotter, I think he'll get the nod. He just looks like he's got fucking Origin written all over his forehead.
Love
you know what
him.
I mean? He's like Dallas Johnson fucking clone.
Yeah.
Flegler, I think Jersey Flegler. Jersey Thomas Flegler will play off the bench, I think, because he's just such a big fucking Ivan Drago looking dude.
Yeah.
Must be Swedish or something.
He should be playing for the Cowboys. They look the same.
I think he speaks like this when he does his interviews. I'm Thomas Flagler. Yeah, I think you got Flegler's, Cotters,
Carrigan.
Carrigan. Fuck, he's been one of the best forwards in the game.
Yeah.
Jai Arrow. I'm not sure. Like the pack that you just said, like Papali'i's playing outstanding. He's played congratulations to Big Papa, 250 games. He's only 30. He's going to get 350.
So many games.
Fuck.
And he
And
just
playing outstanding too.
doesn't miss games.
Such a great leader within our game, especially in the Pacific Islander game. Like in that realm. So I think they're
proud Samoan.
It is, man. And you know what they should do around Origin all the time is make a fucking Pacific friggin' thing that we've been talking about. You know what I mean? Like the Tri-Nations, the Pacific Tri-Nations. If it's not, we haven't even played. Tonga hasn't played since the last test they played and beat Australia.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like NRL, you got to, like World Rugby, how good would it be to see this Tongan and Samoan team and Fiji play in a three Tri-Nations right when Origin's on?
Yeah.
Like, we've got to reward these kids, man.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, one of the coaches who's avoided getting on the Saka meter is Craig Bellamy, and I don't understand. He's lost 2 games, really. He's got to be fired, hasn't he?
100%.
Firing.
Did you see the blow up on the? They had how they show little glimpses. It was for 10 seconds. It wasn't blown up like fuck whatever blah blah blah. It was like I said that is a massive blow up. He's losing it,
He's
mate.
got him in him.
He's got it in him.
He's got him in him.
Oh yeah, I suppose no, he would never be on that. But yeah, he's probably disappointed just in the way that they are losing. Melbourne don't lose like that.
People talk about Pappenhausen and how important Pappenhausen is. I'll tell you what, Jerome Hughes, they got a bargain with him because he is
I don't
obviously
think the next deal that they've got, he just got
vital.
them. Yeah,
Vital to that
big
side.
time. I mean, you can feel it. I mean, you can't do what Pap does. He's an outstanding young kid. But Jerome Hughes has been the second best 7 in the world for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
let's not get that twisted. Nathan Cleary, DCE, Jerome Hughes have been 1, 2, and 3 for the whole for the last 2 or 3 years. So don't underestimate that kid. His kicking game, his defensive game, his organisation skills. He's a great player. So you do miss Pappenhausen's X factor because he can just turn fucking nothing into something. So I don't know. Belly will never be on that. If they ever put him on that, you've got to burn down 360.
I think it's fine. Isn't that the meter, the Saka meter? Des could end up on there at the end of the year. I think the Sea Eagles are going to go down a bit now.
Oh, poor Turbo, mate.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for him. The amount of work that he does to his body, and then it just, he was just competing for the ball again. His body just let him down.
It didn't look that bad either. Like when it happened, it was the one that went on the ground too. It wasn't even the one that was. I thought maybe he'd sort of fallen on his arm, but it wasn't.
Fair run of injuries. Hopefully he can get back. He's still young. How old's Turbo? Like 24.
I think so.
He's got a massive career, so hopefully he can just get through these, bumps and bruises. I said, I think Benji's had like 4 shoulder reconstructions, ended up playing over 300 games. So, a lot of players do suffer from injuries early in their career and they sort of stable out a little bit. So hopefully he just doesn't lose that meter of pace. And everyone's trying to say he should play centre, and I'm like, fuck that. I want him to play fullback. He's too good to play anywhere else. He can play anywhere in the back line.
I think if you're built like a giraffe and you're playing a contact sport, it's going to get challenging for the old joints. It's not the easiest thing in the world.
It's just a shame because he's such a good young kid, marketable, so good for the game. Everyone just loves Turbo. All the kids love him. Like he's everyone's sort of second or first favourite player.
Yeah.
At the moment it's like Latrell, it's Turbo, it's like Cleary, all these guys. He's so marketable and he's just such a good kid. You don't wish that upon anyone, let alone just a really good, genuine kid like that. So and rest up, big man. I always thought, when you go through injuries and stuff, it's just your body just saying, just give me a rest mentally, physically, because he's like under pressure every single week to perform.
Yeah.
So just take it as always keep in contact with him, always give him that advice. There's more to life than football. You got to take care of your body. Your best ability is availability.
Do you think of that yourself?
Yep. Quote unquote.
William
Marshall Mason.
It's remiss of us not to mention actually that it's Indigenous Round this week, which is great. Yeah, it's a great initiative by the NRL. The rugby union does it as well, and I think every week, every code should do it.
Every code does it.
Yeah,
every team does it, which is great now. just recognising our elders, our Indigenous people, what they've done for the country, how long they've been there. Like, I've got so many great Indigenous friends, man. They're so proud of what's happening in the NRL and how much they're moving forward. But there's obviously still a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
This is just the start of it, and this is the minimum what we can do.
And I'll tell you one other thing that I have noticed is the Anzac round jerseys are the worst jerseys ever. You can't
Putting all the
make
work in.
You can't make a bad
they're
one for the
using
Indigenous.
Willie Tonga's totem
Oh, are they?
for this week.
Oh, that's good.
That's so like he's very, very proud.
Yeah,
he's
that's
a
great.
Wiradjuri man, I think. So it's a owl.
Yeah, great.
So they're flying him down this week. He'll be there on Sunday.
good on you,
But
Tom.
he's really proud of that. And that's good from the Bulldogs. They used Rocket Rod Silvers last year. Now they're using Willie Tonga's. So it's such a proud moment for these Indigenous brothers, man. Like Willie's one of my best mates. So yeah, it's good. It's good what they're doing.
It's great.
But this is just the minimum what we can do.
Yeah.
And it's so great. Like, I saw Teddy's boots. You know, you don't have to be Indigenous to celebrate it. Like, someone's wanted to paint his boots, and like they look sick. Go on his Instagram. Like, so he's wearing his boots this week, and then he'll auction them off and give it to whatever charity he's doing.
Yeah.
But all the players are doing it now. It's not when it first started. It was just like the Indigenous brothers were getting it done. But now there's so much skill out there with these guys and what they can do to boots and anything. You know what I mean? I don't think it was possible 10 or 12 years ago. Now they're just doing all the boots and the headgears and anything that they can wear and then auction off. So every player is doing their thing. So it's really good. And that's every code and every player. It's amazing.
I tell you what, just off topic, but dot painting, you know, from the skill and the beauty of what, like, it's unmatched of you look at so much of the Indigenous art from around the world, from First Nations people everywhere, and that is just, every time I look at it, I just think that's just phenomenal.
It is.
So the Panthers are playing the Cowboys. It's a fairly disrespectful $4 for the Cowboys. The Cowboys have been good. Like, I know Penrith are a strong side,
Well, they're
and
$4.
the Cowboys, the Cowboys are without Taumalolo, but still, I just, I can't
Hammer
see.
comes in. Sorry, Hammer, like, it's not much of a loss.
I can't see. I think the line's something like 14.5. I think the Cowboys are being disrespected there a little bit.
Did you pick the Cowboys last week, honestly, or was it just me?
I don't know. I can't remember. I know we always text each other about it.
Because I think yours might have been a late change.
I think
don't
I had a
reckon
late change. Do you know what? Now that Henry's doing the totals, I don't trust him. I think he's just cheating because he knows I don't
Fucking
look.
cheat.
He's a cheat. Filthy, dirty cheat. I think
Personal.
I think I chose the Panthers this week after just saying the Cowboys are good value. But I'm just saying it'll be a better game than that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Cowboys are good. What about, like, just say players like Reynolds and who's the kid that went the Cowboys half?
Dearden.
No, the other one.
Townsend.
Yeah. How much they've helped the aging halfback.
Yeah.
So if you're 31, 32 and you're just off contract now and you're a fucking great half, just say Munster in 2 years. Just say he's in Melbourne and he'd be 31 when he comes off contract. That next deal is going to be just as big as the deal he signs now.
Yeah.
You know, or even bigger, you know, like because Reynolds went up there and he just proved that you can't, because we're not developing these young halves and they're not coming through as good as they used to. Like, even like a game manager like a Townsend and Reynolds, like, look at the difference that they've made. So if you're an aging half, I wouldn't be worried. Look, they're signing DCE for another 2 years.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get a good half these days.
I'll tell you, there's a kid that has signed with the Dolphins for next year that Wayne Bennett's picked up. His name's Isaiah Katoa, and he played for Penrith, but he's been playing for one of the schools in Sydney. And I saw some footage of him.
Is he young?
He's only 17? At school 18 or something. Mate, he is a freak. Like, he's going to have a highlight reel like they see with Ponga and Kurtley Beale and back in the days. He is a phenomenal
but I see that
player.
the difference is when you get that kid and then you throw him into the deep end and then we don't have patience with sevens. We just expect them to do whatever they did at schoolboy land to do it exactly in the pros. Give it time.
They got to give him
development
time.
officers and like coaches. We just got to take our time with the sevens because it's hard to develop a young kid because we throw these kids so much money when they're 17, 18. They get to a really good team or whatever, and then we're like, yep, he's good enough. He's good enough. He's on that much. No, mate, they don't come good till their late 20s.
You look at Sam Walker, and he's like, now I think everyone's like, oh, well, you can stick an 18-year-old in there. It's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah, like Sam Walker's, he's a good player, but he's going to be, he's He's in a good team and a good system. You throw a young rookie kid in a shit system, you will destroy that kid's career if it's not
Handled properly.
cultivated the right way and you don't have the right people around you.
The Broncos and the Titans. It's funny, last year you would have looked at this and you go, well, the Titans win by plenty, but the Broncos, they've been a real surprise packet this year, haven't they?
Probably not to them, probably to everyone else.
Yeah.
I reckon they've been slyly building for the last 2 or 3 years and knowing that if they can get like a decent 7, they'll be all right because they do have the outside backs and the middles to match anyone.
That Ezra Mann was good too on the way, that kid.
Yeah,
he
he's
was
good.
good.
He's good at a young 18, 19-year-old.
Broncos, Titans coach, Holbrook, he's on the coaching meter.
He will be. If they blow this out, if the Bronx give it to the Titans, which I think they will, he will be.
He'd be bright red on the coaching meter. Then you have got
Warriors and Knights.
the Warriors and Knights. This is the coaching meter cup, this one. You've got Nathan
Is Adam
Brown.
O'Brien on it?
Yeah, he's on the coaching meter. Well, the Knights aren't exactly killing it. Oh, look, I think the Knights. I think I've tipped the Knights here. Have I tipped the Knights?
Yeah, we all have.
Oh, Henry didn't. Although it doesn't matter because he'll just cheat. Yeah, that'll be an average game.
Knights are all right. They were in it last week till that one play. It sort of broke their hearts.
They're getting some players back too. It'd be interesting to see how Milford goes. Like
I was happy for Milford.
It's-
Shout out to Milford.
yeah.
Like he come back and he had no preseason. It was very interrupted. Like South fucked him over. So it's good to see him back in the NRL and happy. Like he's got a I don't know, like it's a fresh start. Hopefully he's out of Brisbane, he's out of all that, that fucking just one team, one town. He's in another one, Newcastle. Well, they judge you just as hard. So I think he's in the right system there, and hopefully he can get him some wins, because they need more than Ponga to create.
Yeah.
Well,
the pressure that will come away from he's earning $1 million a year, and then all of a sudden he can be the value buy of the year. It all comes down to
I just
money.
want him to
It's
be
just a
happy and
joke.
just play to his potential.
Play footy.
Because I just don't think he's reached his
He's
potential
still young
yet.
too.
Yeah, he's got a shitload of football in him.
Rabbitohs Tigers. This is I think the Rabbit. Look, Murray's going to make a huge difference to South. Souths have been pretty average. There's
I
no
picked
question.
the Tigers, though.
Did you?
I don't know. I thought they were all right last week in patches.
They were, and Souths were terrible.
Hastings, yeah.
Yes, I got another one up on you. The Sharks and the Roosters. The Sharks were a funny one last week. I don't know what it is about the Sharks, but they ground out that win. Terrific, good for them. But there's been
the Titans, right?
Yeah, there's been games where they've looked like winning the comp, and then there's games they don't look like they even should make the 8.
I think they miss Finucane out there.
That was a noisy
know.
cough.
Yeah, it was.
It was. I tried to get away from the
I
mic.
don't know. I thought they did well because the Titans, as I said, the Titans on paper, and if the Titans turn up in the right frame of mind, they're going to match anyone. And the weather up there was atrocious. It was pissing down. It was awful. And they just sort of had to settle into completing sets, getting their defense really good. They started kicking early and going down there and just bashing them. That's what got them in there. That's Craig Fitzgibbon football. That was Fitzy 101. Early kick, get down there, back rolls, middles, and just beat the shit out of them. Win that field position and then break their, pretty much break their will. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
It just took them a little while to get into the game. They had a few mistakes, some real shitty kicks. Ends of sets were really bad for the first 25, 30 minutes. And then they started getting it in the back end of the first half and then continued in the second half.
Nico Hines has got a sponsorship with Soul Glow too, definitely, because it was
I
pelting with
reckon
rain.
it's thinning out. It's not a real thick bunch of hair, is it?
I saw-
it's not like Tino's looks thick.
That's proper hair.
It's a proper hair.
He ran on before the game. It wasn't raining and the hair was wet, and then it pelted with rain and it looked exactly the same.
It always goes like that
Yeah,
too.
he gives it a. The Bulldogs back to Belmore, William. You'll be out there, I assume.
I'll be there, yep.
Against the Dragons.
Yeah, I just think it's one thing I really get pissed off at because I never played at Belmore as a first grader. Play only in Jersey Flegg, and I envy every single Bulldogs player.
Did you never
that
play there?
No, we're always at Homebush.
Oh, of course.
That whole era from the early 2000s to 2000. When they would go back 2012 or 13 or something like that.
Worst
So
ground
we
ever.
missed it. We would have been fucking unbeatable there.
Yeah.
And we all would have fucking give a finger to play at that ground. So
Yeah.
hopefully the Bulldogs boys understand that, players like myself, You know, you'd give a fucking leg to play at Belmore in front of your people like that. Where
it's so close.
It's so close, and it's like you've got all your passionate supporters. Well, average like 34,000 at Homebush. Imagine that at Belmore.
I know.
And it's so one-sided. We would have no one else support. You have no one else, like Parramatta supporters or anything like that. They'd have 5 metres of the hill. Everything else would just be blue and white. So that kind of stuff sort of pisses me off when I watch some Bulldogs teams play in the last couple of years when they do get to play at Belmore, which is such a sacred thing if you're a Bulldog man, and they put in shit effort. So I expect a fucking big one.
Can you imagine rocking? Actually, the Dragons will be all right, but can you imagine the Roosters rocking up in Roosters jerseys to
There'll be
Belmore?
one supporter.
No, thank you. But I wouldn't be wearing a Roosters jersey. The Raiders
Can you imagine those battles in 2002, 3 and 4 against the Roosters at Belmore?
Yeah.
Fuck.
The Roosters.
2003 when we had to stop the game, there was flares going off.
It was, yeah.
Oh, good old times.
They were the good days. I think you can still get flares in.
Those fans are just waiting for the Bulldogs to start winning so they can fucking rock back there and start flaring up.
That old mate ran on the field with a flare. Flares are still going.
Oh, yeah.
Canberra, they've had a couple of good wins. They're going okay. The Eels.
I think the Eels have more to play for. And I'm really picking on the players that have to prove themselves to get into Origin, or they need that one more game. That's what I'm thinking with the Eels. I think Campbell Gillard will be thinking, fuck, I could get back into this side. So I'm thinking he's just going to try and terrorise Papali'i and make it personal. And so all the selectors can go, fuck, he handled Papali'i. That would be my mindset if I'm Reg now going, I need to prove myself because I've been out of the team for 3 years. Now I've got to take Big Papa's head off. Good luck, kid.
Willie's Big Boys.
Good to hear Zig's voice, hey?
Happy wedding anniversary to the big man Zig
good on
too.
you, Zig. So if
23
everyone
years.
doesn't notice it, Zig's not here. We just got Henry running the show, which is going great. But yeah,
Is it,
Zig's
though?
up Byron Bay. Just,
Probably won't even.
This
This show might
he
not
got
have-
like fucking IG dump just of kangaroos. I've seen so many fucking kangaroos on Ziggy's. It's like he's never seen. He's been here for like 25 years. Come on, Zig.
Going back to
Stop
Texas.
acting like that.
It's going back to Texas.
Anyway, the big boys are on fire again on the weekend. Anyway, let's just go straight through this because Josh Papali, as I said, like Big Campbell Gillard is coming first on the leaderboard, but Big Papa's coming up there now. He got 3 points because he was just outstanding against South. 2 points, Payne
Talk
Haas.
about this. Build the suspense. Start
No,
with
no
one.
suspense. None. Payne Haas 2 because he's just outstanding. Newcastle have a fair pack. It's not like he just ran meters all over him. You know, they had guys like Clemmer and both Saifidi brothers. You know, like Frizzell was back. So that he makes a good meters, 180 meters. 34 tackles, no misses. It's ridiculous. And Fisher Harris. That was a great battle, man. Regardless of the score with the Roosters, that was a battle. You know, you still got some hard heads like Takiaho and Hargraves and all that, you know, so they're still sitting there trying to hit this young kid. So I don't think, how old is Fisher Harris? 26?
Yeah, he's still
27,
young.
so he's still young. You got old bull like Hargraves just going at him all day, you know, so he still made those meters and so he gets 1 vote. So my leadership board is, so on 8 points, Junior Paulo, Payne Haas, Talakai and Campbell Gillard. 2, coming second is Tamalolo and Big Papa on 6 points. And third is Fisher Harris and Fanua Blake on 4 points.
Well done.
Yeah.
All right. So this has been. I mean, it's been.
Did we lose again?
We lost. We lost again. I think.
Knights let me down.
Yeah. Well, I've actually taken the Knights 1 to 12. I think I've gone for a bit of value here. So I've taken the Storm to win both halves into the Panthers 1 to 12.
Can you do that?
Yep, I can do whatever I want.
Exotic
I can gamble
betting.
on whatever.
Don't do exotic bets.
And says you. And then the Knights 1 to 12. So the Panthers and the Knights, I think, will win in tight ones, and the Storm will win both halves. So that's paying $17.60.
Fuck.
It's a good bet.
Oh, I hope that gets up. Anyway,
Thanks.
my piss week bet. Come on, Bill. Come on, Bobby. Better than this. Anytime try scorer Xavier Coates. Panthers to win. Corey Oates. Anytime try scorer.
Yep.
Warriors versus Knights to be over 40.5. And Alex Johnson, anytime try scorer. I thought this would be paying a lot more. It's only paying $9, so I get back 478.
You know what? For all those people that punt out there, you know what I've decided? Anytime try scorer, It's a low market.
Fucking exciting, but
But
when they
it-
score, hey, I get that feeling. I don't take it anywhere, but I just go, fucking pass the ball. And I looked at the nice stuff because I wasn't really watching that much footy on the weekend. I was like, because I look at the bets. Obviously, I don't gamble. do
Clearly.
I? Clearly.
If you do, though, you gamble responsibly.
Yeah, and if I do, everyone knows about my win. But
You love an early crow.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know. I thought because I looked at my bet last week and I'm like, I've won this because the other two got up, and then I looked at the Newcastle game. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, you blew out
I think
first
we took.
game.
Did we try? Yes, I was
First
at
game.
first game,
Yeah.
but I was excited all weekend.
I'm glad you're excited.
because I got the other ones up. I was like, fuck, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It's all right.
So the producer has gone Warriors, Rabbitohs, and Raiders, which is paying $7. So that'll be all right. And then tipping wise, we've got.
Oh, I'd be in the lead if I wasn't so staunch with the Dogs.
You would actually. You
Yeah,
definitely would.
I would. Only just.
But we've both gone Storm, Panthers, Broncos, Knights. I've gone the Rabbits, you've gone the Tigers. We've gone Sharks, you've gone the Dogs, and we've gone the Eels. All right, and William, the Twitter. Let's just have a quick look. There was a couple of Twitter questions coming through quickly. Toddy, do you think he's good? Toddy, you always like
Toddy
us.
G?
He's the one. Yeah, he said
he's a good man.
He's the one who says I don't know anything about rugby league. I still love him though. Do you fellas think the top 8, bottom 8 changes much between now and the end of the year? For I think only South drop out and replaced by the Dragons.
I think it's like, if you have a look from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, it's pretty much on 10 points?
Yeah.
Like, so a lot can change. Like, this is why it's so important to jag all these early games so you can get a good start. Like the Penrith, like even Melbourne, like the Cowboys, so it'll change a lot. So anyone can catch a little bit of fire, even just saying 5 games. If that's how you break a lot of teams break the game down in increments, like every 6 weeks or every, you know what I mean? So that you're not just looking at the whole from round 1 to 26. You break it down within a month or whatever it is, whatever the coach sort of says. Obviously, we take it week by week, game by game.
Full credit to the boys.
But full credit to the boys, all that sort of shit that you hear from players. But you do look at the whole season in different increments. So a lot of teams will be looking for different runs at different times, knowing around Origin they should be winning like 4 out of 5 and all that sort of shit. So it'll change. It'll definitely change. Like, and you don't know who can catch some fire. Like, any team has proved that they can beat pretty much anyone apart from Panthers. No one's fucking with the Panthers. Even during Origin, I think their culture's too strong to be even to be messed with. I think South will hold their own, but they'll struggle. They've really come back to the pack without no Latrell, and even with Cam Murray gone. But any other team like the Dragons and all that kind of stuff, and Canberra, and they've all proved that they can beat each other.
Yep. All right. Well, old enough to know better. What about an anti-taunting rule like the NFL now? The biff has gone. I'd like to see a penalty given at the next kickoff when an attacking team carries on like pork chops after a try. I think this happens in NFL as well.
Oh, I fucking love that. I love it because I hate that shit that people carry on with, especially young kids coming in and that, and like, especially was it the Zach Lomax who jumped on Frizzell, this over the top celebrating. I get it, but the taunting and all that sort of shit, like just like the NBA and just like the NFL, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's. I mean, what do you think?
Penrith would have literally 400 penalties a game.
I get it with when you score a try, but he's talking about taunting and stuff that, and like talking shit, and the fights and all that kind of stuff, and the near fights, the pushing and that. Oh, that's a good point.
It's good.
They should bring that in. There should be some sort of etiquette to play the game. We are the NRL is the cream of the crop, so act accordingly.
No, well said. Well, hit us up on Twitter. We'll be doing games again this week. We love the Twitter. And also we get on the Instagram a lot. So
we're on the gram,
hit me up on the Instagram. I actually quite like talking to you people. So
you people
out there, the people, the good people. Rate and review. I don't think we've had a rate or review for a while, so do that. I don't know what it is, but do it. And masonstake.com.au probably as well.
I think so.
Get on there.
Twitter game. We'll be just everywhere.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
They'll be following Willie more and more. Back in the NRL is Willie Mason.
I've forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie inside. The Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
You've been listening to The Take with Willie Mason and co-host Ian Byrne. Produced by Craig Trewick, recorded and engineered by Zig Parker of Green Room Sydney, and presented by the Handshake Media Network.